The news story, a man calls the police on a baby squirrel that was following him. While it's a silly story, I'm going to show you how this story is so important to you as a prepper and what this has to do with your life or death after SHTF, right after the channel intro. Welcome to this community. I'm an avid prepper and oath keeper, and I'm certified to teach firearms and the use of deadly force. If you want to learn actual prepping skills and how to protect yourself legally, then please subscribe and also click the bell icon so you won't miss whenever a video is released. So the news headline caught my eye. Man calls police on baby squirrel following him. And after reading it, it prompted me to do this video to show you how this is a warning sign of how stories like this actually are a symptom of a larger problem. A problem that will almost certainly cause us danger after SHTF. So according to the news story, it appeared that a baby squirrel had probably lost its mother and, while searching for a new surrogate mother, fixated on the man and began following him. And the man became distressed after he couldn't lose the squirrel and called the police to come fix the problem. And the news story goes on to say how when the police arrived that the squirrel basically passed out from fear and basically took a nap, and then the police then turned the squirrel over to an animal rescue. Now, I rarely believe news media, and the news media may have gotten several facts incorrect on this particular story, but from what I regularly witness with people, it wouldn't surprise me if the story was true. Now, what got me about this silly story is that it didn't teach me, but it reminded me that people just don't know how to think for themselves and how they don't know how to take care of problems for themselves, and that they rely on the government to fix all of their problems for them. Which appears to be the case with this man. He didn't know what to do when he couldn't lose the baby squirrel, so he just called the police so the government would come and fix his problem. And the police who then dispatched officers, and probably multiple officers, because when you're dispatched on something like this, you just don't know if it's a true situation or if it's somebody that's suffering from some kind of a mental breakdown. So he had the police come and take care of his problem for him because he just couldn't think of how to rectify a small problem of nature for himself. Now, what the big issue here is that this is just another example of how people are becoming so reliant on the government to take care of everything for them, and how they cannot think for themselves, and how they can't even solve the smallest of problems for themselves. When people can't figure out small problems like this, how are they going to act when the food stops being delivered to their local grocery store? First, in regular times, they have no skills or knowledge of how to take care of themselves, and they depend on the government and the infrastructure to make sure that they're fed. And then when the system fails after SHTF, they again will have no skills or knowledge how to feed themselves during and after the collapse. Now, this story took place in Germany, and today's video is not a dig at the German people. I have no idea of what the German culture is like. But this is definitely a dig at us American people, because I see stuff like this all of the time. This particular story just happened to make the news. Every time that people call the police on silly stuff like this, extra officers are needed so that silly calls for service can be handled along with the actual needed calls like violent domestics and burglaries or whatever. And with tons of calls coming in like this, then extra dispatchers are needed, and then bigger dispatch centers, and then bigger police departments, and more retirements and pensions, and so on and so on. And government typically loves this. The more that they can justify growing, then the better for them. But I'm starting to get a little bit off topic here, which is how we preppers need to take note of this news story because of how it could affect us after SHTF. Folks, I am all the time getting dispatched to runs that are situations where people could take care of the problems themselves, or could have prevented the problems from happening in the first place by making a few intelligent decisions in their life. But the simple fact is, I am seeing where a large number of people just do not know how to handle everyday problems themselves. and I'm just seeing where they depend on the government to fix everything for them. And when people cannot fix even simple problems, what is society going to do when the real problems of SHTF hit? And before we move to the next important point, a poll should be appearing in the upper right hand corner of the screen just about now. And please go take this anonymous poll and let's see what the typical prepper's biggest concern is for the aftermath of SHTF. Is martial law your biggest concern? Or marauders and gangs? Or do you fear starvation and illness? Let's see where we stand as a community on this subject. And I'm also seeing where people are unable to use common sense in real life. For example, I have been dispatched many times on newspaper delivery people. You know, the delivery people where they drive their car slowly down the street and stop every few houses to toss a newspaper from their car up into somebody's yard. So this is something that happens day after day, meaning that the newspaper delivery person drives up and down the street every day, and yet people who live on that street suddenly find this activity suspicious and they just automatically call the police. And then a large number of dispatch calls are because people don't know how to act in a socially responsible way or how to handle indifferences. We get called so much on family disturbances and disturbances between neighbors, and most of the time both parties are at fault. But it all boils down to people who make very bad decisions in life and also do not know how to make mature decisions on how to settle an argument or a dispute. Folks, when SHTF hits, when there's a shortage of food, there's going to be a lot of people who just won't know what to do to fix the problem, and who just won't know what actions to take to mitigate the problem of food not coming to their dinner table. At least we preppers have had the foresight of putting back some extra food and learning how to garden and how to be more self-reliant. And these same people who don't know a thing about how they can get their next meal in a self-sufficient manner, many of them are also going to be the same people who don't know how to act when their stomach starts grumbling. They're going to react to the situation the only way that they know how, and that's by aggression. And when first responders are stretched so thin or are just plain laid off during SHTF, then we have the real possibility that we preppers may have to deal with people who have no idea of how to take care of themselves and do not know how to act in a socially responsible manner. So when you see a silly news story like the one in this video, just put that news story into the back of your head and realize that it happens many more times than what the news reports, and think of what prepping lessons that we can learn from it. So besides having food put back and also learning how to be more self-reliant that us preppers already do, also take a look around you and see the dumbing down of society that's going on and how that dumbing down is going to affect you and the life that you're securing for yourself and your family after SHTF, which I believe that many of you already do, hence while you're on this channel. And this is something that I also think that we preppers also need to put into the back of our heads. When SHTF first happens and the store shelves are stripped bare, and the people who don't know how to secure the next meal and only know aggression start to show themselves, I think that those people will have a short life expectancy after SHTF. Along with killing each other off, they will also choose the wrong survivalist to mess with. So one of our goals as preppers is to just outlive these type of people. I just think that many of the types of people that this video is about will die off either from starvation or violence. And then the remaining people will actually start forming safe and thriving communities again, because most people want safety, security, normalcy, and the support that a community can give them. And folks, I know that sometimes police just have to be called, so if you've had true issues with a nightmare neighbor or something like that and were forced to call the police, then please know that this video or those examples were not aimed at you. They were aimed at the people who truly can't think of how to get themselves out of a simple problem, or who can't use critical thinking skills and expect the government to fix all of their problems. And to learn a very important skill in self-sustainability, and to see how you can help ensure that you can keep growing food when the store shelves are stripped bare after SHTF, then click on the link that should be appearing in the upper right hand corner of the screen just about now to learn just how important and easy composting is. And to learn how you can easily purify water, not just filter but actually purify water after SHTF, then click on the video that should be appearing on the right side of the screen just about now. Anyways folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.